The Bengals, the Jaguars, they're playing tonight. It's Monday Night Football. Jimmy Adams coming on WagerTalk today to take apart that game. And we're going to look at an early bet on Michigan and Alabama, the Panthers and the Saints. What a show we have lined up for you all. I was not supposed to be hosting this week. I have a sty in my eye. One of these eyes. So I've delayed my trip to Wednesday. Welcome everybody to WagerTalk Today, the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Teddy covers. A shout out to you. Nice win on your 5% play. Bryan Power joining us and talk about a nice win. Dude hasn't lost a game in 13 straight. Welcome to WagerTalk Today, my friend.
Prez, Teddy, great to be here. It's a good day to be here, too, I guess, given how the last 3 days have gone. Teddy, congrats on the Niners. I had them as well. And Prez, I'm very sorry to hear that you could be feeling better, but it's great that you're here because I always like spending time with you here on the program, of course.
Okay, now the line is over.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We promised a Prez free zone all week, and now we got him for at least 2 more days. So Prez is changing his flight to Vegas. So be it. Let's start with some college football playoff talk. Obviously, quite a bit of controversy with the 4 teams that got the invite and the 3 teams that didn't, I guess, in particular Florida State, but certainly Georgia has a case for inclusion despite their loss. Nonetheless, we have a college football playoff semifinal. We have 2 semifinal matchups set up, both with point spreads. Looking at the WagerTalk Live odds screen right now. Michigan, Alabama. I'm seeing the Wolverines -1.5, 46 the total. Bama's the team that snuck their way in. Can they beat the consensus number 1 in the playoff? Certainly the point spread says they're live.
Well, Teddy, my initial reaction to this line is that it's too short. You mentioned Georgia getting left out. They're going to be a key part of this handicap because let's look back at the SEC championship game on Saturday. Georgia, as you know, got as high as -6 during the week against Alabama. Now, that ultimately proved to be a bad number, but here's the thing, and this is this week's edition of Fun with Bryan Power's Power Ratings. I have Michigan power rated above Georgia. So it is a little difficult for me to reconcile the delta we have between this last Saturday and what we're currently seeing for the college football playoff semifinal here between Michigan and Bama. Now, obviously, there needs to be some adjusting with Bama beating Georgia, but Michigan under -3, too low for me. In the biggest games, obviously, you need to consider public perception, right? Going into Saturday, the perception of Bama was too low. That was probably due to the fact they needed a miracle to beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl. I had Auburn plus the points in that one, by the way. And Georgia had largely been rolling. Now, what do we have? Bama beats Georgia, and it feels like the public perception swinging a bit too far in the other direction. I look at ESPN.com this morning. They have a headline, Alabama opens as rare underdog. This is despite the fact they were an underdog in the last game. So I think people are maybe a little bit too infatuated with Alabama getting points, at least that concept right now. And if you look at the X's and O's, guys, Michigan's defense allows only 9.5 points and 87.1 rushing yards per game. To address the obvious, Teddy, yes, Alabama is better offensively than any team in the Big Ten, but I would be stunned if they matched the 27 points they scored on Georgia against the Wolverines. And on the other side, Michigan's offense is good. J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, I'm expecting them to have nice games on New Year's Day. And in past conversations we've had on the show, Teddy, you've always asked me to compare current to past iterations of teams, right? We talked about that last week with Texas and Oklahoma State. Well, I actually think this is one of the weaker versions of Bama we've seen under Nick Saban, which is why they were a dog in the SEC championship game. In addition to that close call in the Iron Bowl, let's not forget, they trailed Tennessee at the half. They trailed A&M at the half. They trailed Ole Miss at the half. They only beat Arkansas by 3, neck and neck with LSU before Jaden Daniels got hurt. Meanwhile, Michigan, best version they've been in a long, long time. We're talking about a team 38-3 their last 41 games, 26-14-1 against the number during that time. And you know they're going to be fired up to win a semifinal after failing each of the last 2 years. And an X factor, I got one of these for you. Michigan fewest number of penalty yards per game in the country this season. Alabama's not as bad as they were last year when they were one of the 4 most penalized teams in the country. But they still double the number of penalty yards per game that Michigan has. Officiating, always a hot button issue, right? We saw it in the NFL last night. The numbers to me show if the Zebras maybe get involved here, maybe if they're a factor, it's likely to be Alabama that's adversely affected. Things can change between now and New Year's Day, guys. But for me right now, my initial lean, Michigan -1.5.
So you've talked about the handicap of this game. I want to talk about the betting aspect of it. Where do you see the money going? Is this if you like Michigan, do you want to bet them now? If you like Alabama, do you want to bet them now? Is this number going to sit here for the next 3 weeks until the 24 hours before kickoff? What's your assessment of the betting marketplace for Michigan, Alabama? And is this one we want to bet sooner if you like the Wolverines or later as we approach kickoff?
No, I'm actually waiting to see if it gets any lower because, like I talked about, we saw the headline on ESPN. I think initially we're going to see some more money come in in the line move towards Alabama. But again, it's a long time between now and January 1st, right? I think when we get closer to kickoff, that's when we're gonna see the buyback on the Wolverines. We're not there yet where I'm gonna start screaming bet Michigan right now. But I'm interested because I think we might. Who knows? I think this could get to a pick 'em. I don't think Alabama will be favored, but maybe that's not that big of a difference. But it will be. I am still waiting to see, to answer your question, Teddy, how this number moves. I think it could move in the direction of Alabama a little more.
Guys, let me jump in here. Look, I don't want to get into how screwed the teams that didn't make it in got, because ultimately only 4 teams could make it, and all 6, 2 were getting screwed no matter what. I mean, it is typical. Anyway, what I wanted to speak to you about, and Teddy, you use player quotes all the time in your handicapping. It's a big thing for you, player. You spend a lot of time looking up beat writers in different towns and getting quotes, etc. For some reason, the world was privy to Michigan's conference facility when it was announced they got to play Alabama. They did not look happy. Their immediate reaction was, oh, shit. Do either of you put weight on that?
I'll jump in real quick and let Teddy give his answer. I think that's a natural reaction because option B was Florida State with a backup quarterback. So, of course, you would rather face Florida State with a backup quarterback than Alabama. That was my read. So, of course, naturally, you're going to react like that because I'm sure they would have much rather played Florida State. I think Teddy would agree.
I didn't see it, so I have no idea what you're talking about, but I believe that it existed, but I don't know.
Oh, well, it's so great that you believe that it existed, because otherwise Prez would have just come on air and made up a total story. Oh, my lordy, Theodore. Oh, my lordy. Guys, what a great show we've got lined up. Brian's going to look at the Panthers and the Saints. Jimmy Adams will be joining us. He's got a bet for us on the Bengals and the Jags, BSU and UCLA. Andrew McInnis at the end of the show with an NHL bet and a prop bet for tonight. Of course, Teddy's Bad Beat segment coming up shortly. That's one of the best segments we have. And if you hit the like button, we will continue the onslaught in the daily presidential address. We need only 125 likes. Bri, let's get into next week, week 14 in the NFL. And, well, I mean, the Saints aren't out of it, but this team is just on a free fall. Panthers, they're playing. I had the Panthers as a circa bet. I gave them out on the daily the NFL presidential address. I did not release them for my clients. I regretted that, but I still had a great day. Now they are +5 against New Orleans. If New Orleans is going to do anything this year, they got to win this game. How do we bet it?
Yeah, let's start with the Panthers. In soccer, we call it the new manager bounce, but for Carolina, unfortunately, they didn't get that yesterday. First game after firing Frank Reich. They lose 21-18 to the Bucs. Now 1-11 on the season are the Panthers, but a 3-point loss was good enough for me. You mentioned it, Prez, that you had it in circa. I gave it out to the clients. Panthers +5. They covered. That was one of my wins in a 5-0 NFL sweep yesterday. And it was just the second time Carolina's covered a spread all season. You look at Bryce Young, and man, he doesn't look very good. It's, considering what they gave away to get him and how good CJ Stroud's been, there's a lot of egg in the face, on the face, I should say, in the building for Carolina. But New Orleans, as you talked about, Prez, they're not looking very good right now either, are they? I actually teased them up to plus 10.5. That is not a traditional long teaser, but I did it anyway, along with the Titans to plus 7, and that ended up being smart because they didn't cover the plus 4.5 against Detroit, but they covered the tease. Lost by 5, and they ended up with a slight edge in total yards, did the Saints, but they were down 21-0 at home in that game. They lose Derek Carr to injury again. And, far be it for me to editorialize on the show, but in a league full of bad coaches, Dennis Allen kind of stinks. He's just not good. Remember that once great home field advantage the Saints had? Sean Payton, Drew Brees. Nobody wanted to go to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, right? Well, the last 3 seasons, New Orleans is 8-12 straight up, 5-15 against the number at home, including 2-3 and 0-5 this year. And here's a real indictment on Allen, guys. In his 5 years as a head coach, 5-7, which is the Saints' current straight-up record, that's his best straight-up record going into the 13th game ever. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm not the biggest Carr fan, so if Jameis Winston has to start, I guess that's not the biggest downgrade, but the Saints are not a team I want to lay points with right now. 3 consecutive straight-up losses, failed to cover 4 in a row, and only 3 wins this season by more than a field goal. And in one of those, Teddy, they needed 5 turnovers to beat the Bears by just 7 here at home. I will take the Panthers, hold my nose, once again with the points.
So Carolina was not the better team on the field yesterday by any stretch of the imagination. They were just as awful as they've been. New Orleans played a terrible first 7 minutes against Detroit, and then they were the better team the rest of the way. The Lions were lucky to escape with a win, even luckier to escape with a cover. New Orleans dominated the line of scrimmage, certainly on the defense, but really on both sides of the football. And when Carr went out and Winston came in, I'm not going to say there was a spark, but there was a spark a little bit, that Winston. So I guess my question is there any upside for the Saints right now? Is there hope for New Orleans, or is this just a fade-only team? Because Carolina is a team you can beat if you want to be. The quotes after the game yesterday were not positive from Carolina. If good teams are going to smack Carolina, probably, and if the Saints have any hope, this is the game they're supposed to win and cover.
Would agree with the idea that a good team would smack the Panthers. I don't think the Saints are a good team. Now, like I said, I teased them up, but they were getting points at home against Detroit. Now, obviously, no team wants to be down 21-0 after 7 minutes. But when you have to throw the ball against a Detroit Lions defense that's 32nd in the league, and there's only 32 teams, in EPA per play since week 7, that's not a bad place to be. So I wasn't surprised to see the Saints get back in the game, even with the injury at quarterback. Carolina, you look at that game, yeah, it was still ugly. I talked about how Bryce Young doesn't look ready for primetime. That game was being played in a monsoon, though, by the way, in the first half. I mean, my God, was there anywhere in the entire Eastern Seaboard that it was not raining yesterday? I was in Boston for the weekend. I had a great weekend. Hung out with Adam Trigger, Mark Stino. Oh, well, okay, there we go. We found one.
Toronto's not on the Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a little off the Eastern Seaboard, I would say.
Well, it's
Boston
east,
was pouring.
It's east for Canada. It is. Okay, it is middle.
Yeah. The sun is always shining where you are, Prez. Correct?
No chance, dude. It's freezing cold.
All right, but I guess to answer the question, I don't think the Saints are a good team, and so we'll take anytime they're a favorite, I'll probably look to fade them.
Bri, listen, I came on here excited about my 9-0 college basketball run, my 15-1 college basketball run, only to find out you've won 13 games in a row. What do you got to promote, brother?
Yeah, we're not forcing anything on Monday, coming off a great weekend like that. It was a great weekend. I hung out in Boston with Adam Trigger and Mark Zino over at Sports Memo. Shout out to Encore Boston for hosting us. CT Bets, Chris Thurston. We had a great time cashing all the games at the sports book over the weekend. But yeah, you mentioned 5-0 in college football on Saturday, 5-0 on NFL on Sunday, 9-1 the last 2 weeks in college football, 17-6 the last 3 weeks in NFL. Oh, by the way, we hit 67% last year in the bowls, including our biggest play, which is Ohio State plus the points against Georgia. So great time to hop on board. I'm already breaking the bowl games down for this year, hopefully to get some of them up early. And we'll have some NFL up soon as well. And stay tuned. Maybe, just maybe, I'll sneak in a college basketball play for Monday. But like I said, don't want to force anything after such a great 3-day run.
Bryan Power, everybody. Outstanding stuff. Teddy, we got a kick-ass promotion going on at WagerTalk today. $49 for a week of anybody's plays inside of a single sport. You, my friend, are rolling right now. So am I, but let's talk about you. Great day yesterday. 5% play on San Fran. Congratulations. It's been 2 glorious weeks of betting for you. Why should people use that $49 promo package on Theodore, and which sport should they buy?
They shouldn't use that package. They should use the even better $199 deal for the entirety of every sport for the rest of the year. All sports, all access, whoever you want to get on board. And there's no coupon code needed for this one. $199. The beauty of this package is the earlier you buy, the more you save. So you get it today, you'll get every play through New Year's Eve. You get it tomorrow, you get every play through New Year's Eve. So get it today. Take advantage, whatever handicapper you're looking for, just $199. All sports, all access. In my opinion, that's the way to go. Lawrence?
Yeah, dude, I agree. And you're smoking hot. 35-13 run, right? Give or take.
33-13. Yes, 72% across sports. The college football has been hot, NBA's been hot, and NFL has been hot, and that's the 3 sports that I'm doing right now. Although we're getting there with college hoops. We still haven't put out a college hoops play yet for this season, but we'll get there. But right now, all 3 sports that I'm releasing plays, I'm rolling in. Yes. Yeah.
Well, talk about college hoops, brother. I'll cover you on that. I'm on a 9-0 and 15-1 college hoops run. 9-0 and 15-1 run. I got a lot of college basketball promos up. Click on the deal button over at WagerTalk. Week, month, season. I got discounted it all. But yeah, my college basketball. Boom! Teddy, it's time for your 6 Bs, brother. Let's hear it.
Let's do it. A little bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. A recap of what just happened this past weekend. I've even got one of the worst college basketball beats that I've ever seen in today's show. Friday, New Mexico State standing toe-to-toe with Liberty in Lynchburg. It's 35-35 after 3 quarters. New Mexico State, the Aggies, plus 10.5, plus 11. And then the quarterback gets hurt, Diego Pavia, after throwing touchdown. The backup, Blaze Berlowitz, comes in, promptly marches the team down the field to Liberty 22-yard line and throws a pick. And then the next drive, cover on the line, march him down to Liberty 28, and then a holding call, and then stopped on downs. Liberty wins by 14, plus 11. No good. Ouch, if you had New Mexico State. I'm not going to do college basketball bad beats on a regular basis. That said, there were no college football real bad beats on Saturday, and this one was just so bad, I had to bring it up. This was an all-timer. Yale up by 5 with 3.8 seconds left. No timeouts. Vermont can't push the ball to the other side of the court. So they're on their own end of the court. They're down by 5. There's 3.8 seconds left. It's a pick-em game. A layup cuts the lead to 3, 0.6 seconds left. Yale fouls on the inbounds, a push-off, just enough time for Vermont to hit to inbound the ball again, drain a 3, and get fouled. Catamounts win by 1. Up 5 with 3.8 seconds left, and they don't even have a timeout to get it in the half court, and they lose in regulation. That's tough. That's tough. Big time if you had Yale in that one. And that line bounced. Pick 'em +1, +2. Yeah, sweat and a half. And a brutal beat. And the Browns were kind of a tough beat yesterday. They really were. That game was tight as a drum. It was 2019 in the fourth quarter, thanks to a missed extra point. The defense forces a 3 and out. The offense gets the ball back. They're in the fourth quarter, chance to win the game, 6 minutes left. And then Flacco, who threw a bunch of ducks yesterday, he threw the worst duck of them all. He's like, yeah, let's chuck it downfield, but it's not quite going to get to where we need to. 42-yard interception return, the last 4 minutes, LA touchdown. Brown stopped on downs, another touchdown, then a safety. It looks like a blowout. The Browns were live to win that game. Tough beat if you had Cleveland. when it comes to bad bets? Well, they bet all Louisville. Oh, Louisville, Florida State's got no quarterback. Florida State's down to a third-string quarterback. Louisville opened +6. They closed -1. Florida defense, special teams just fine. 16-6 final. Not a great game for the house. Bad bets, but it was bad for the books with the total 53. Bet down to 46. The under money cashed with ease. They bet Iowa and over. Michigan and under cash. 26-0 final. Those were bad bets. They bet Oregon back up to -10. Washington, and another impressive showing for the Huskies, won outright. Somebody was out there betting the Patriots again yesterday. Chargers closed as low as -4. Yeah, New England money is bad bets right now. And of course, the Broncos-Texans total, that got steamed up 44 to 47.5, 22-17 final. All that over money, we'll call that bad bets. Bad for the books. The wise guys knew what was up. I didn't with my big game breakdown on Friday. Texas wasn't going to stop scoring, and Oklahoma State couldn't stop them. 11.5 bet to -15. The Longhorns win by 28. That was a bad result for the books. The NFL, the expected under stayed under. Chargers Patriots 42.5 down to 38.5. 6-0 final. The Falcons Jets 35.5 down to 33. 13-8 final. Those both bad for the books. That Carolina Tampa game, bad for the books both ways. They went for 2 at the end of the game after the touchdown and made it. Side. Panthers 5.5 down to +3.5. All that money won. Total open 39.5, 40, closed 37. And that 2-point conversion puts it right in the middle. Over bettors win, under bettors win at Carolina Tampa. Not a great result for the house. And the books that cater to wise guys got beat up with 49ers money yesterday. I wasn't the only one who saw the spot for Philly's defense and went large on San Fran. That was the wise guy play of the year, in a sense, in the NFL. And books that cater to professional bettors and serious bettors, they did very well in that. They did very poorly in that contest. There you have it. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Outstanding stuff, Teddy. Yeah, I was involved in a bunch of those games. I was on the Rams. I was nervous, to say the least. Yeah, let's bring Jimmy Adams in, bro. Jimmy Adams on a 6-0 all sports run, another great NFL run and college football run. Outstanding stuff. Up 63 units of profit since November 2nd. Welcome to WagerTalk Today, brother. Let's get straight into the Monday night football game. Money just keeps pouring in on Jacksonville. Last I looked, it was -10 for Jacksonville. The total in this game is 40. How do you suggest we bet it?
Yeah, the Bengals are in a tough spot when they head to Jacksonville tonight. We've seen the betting market, like you mentioned, drive this lineup throughout the week. Last in the AFC North, they've lost quarterback Joe Burrow. Now Jake Browning being asked to make his second career start on Monday Night Football. Now, since he ran the ball for just 25 yards on 11 carries last week, and I would expect a much different game plan here. The Bengals are going to have to get Joe Mixon going to help them move the chains or at least set up 3rd and short if they're going to have a chance at staying within this number at all. The problem is Jacksonville ranks 4th in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per game at 87.4. Question marks on the offensive line as well. They gave up 4 sacks last week and now have to deal with Josh Allen. That's not going to be fun. But the game plan certainly has to be to keep Trevor Lawrence off the field as much as possible. And we have an interesting chess match as well with Press Taylor and Zach Taylor. Obviously, Press Taylor, the younger brother of Zach and the offensive coordinator for the Jags. So we'll see how well they know each other. As far as when Cincy's on defense, there is some hope. The Jags rushed for just 2.7 yards per carry against the Texans, and they'll have an edge on the defensive line as well. Jags left tackle Cam Robinson is out, so that leaves backup Walker Little try and hold off Trey Hendrickson, who has 10.5 sacks on the season. Under is 17-5 when the Bengals have been an underdog over the past 3 seasons, and we all know how profitable primetime unders have been all year long, like 28-11 or something like that. I think we can expect another low-scoring contest since you'll have trouble finding the end zone, and their defense will hold up just enough. Give me the under on Monday Night Football.
So Unders on Monday night have cashed at what are they, 13-1 on the season or something insane. We've seen an entire year in the NFL where under bettors, if you just blindly bet unders, have made a small fortune this season. Can that continue indefinitely, Jimmy? Do the markets ever catch up? Do the pros start betting unders? Do the Joes start betting unders? Is this a scenario where you just keep betting the unders on these Monday night games and Thursday night games and cash in?
So I think you probably know as well as anyone that it can't continue forever. At some point, we're going to hit regression, but we don't know exactly at what point that'll be. So I think we continue to bet unders until we start to see signs of regression. I know that the Sunday nighter went over. We had a Thursday nighter go over. But take the matchup individually. And this is one where the Bengals are certainly going to have trouble finding the end zone. This is kind of a bounce back spot for their secondary as well. They did not perform well against the Steelers, but 12th in the NFL in quarterback rating and 4th in the NFL with an interception. So I think they have a bounce back game, and this one ends up under 40. That's how I'm going to roll tonight, at least.
Jimmy Adams, college bowls are up. The lines are out. UCLA is facing Boise. I went 1-1 on Saturday. I played against Boise. That didn't go well for me. We got Boise State plus 1.5, a total of this game of 49.5. How do we bet this?
Yeah, so this is the time of year in college football where you want to keep a close eye on the transfer portal and coaching changes, especially with all the NIL money that's out there right now. Players can officially transfer starting today, and UCLA is in a world of hurt, let me tell you. Banners have literally been flying across the campus calling for Chip Kelly to get fired. Quarterback Dante Moore is transferring, and he kind of took a shot at the program on the way out, talking about how he wanted to go to a place that would help him develop it. And many others are leaving as well. 2 wide receivers, the tight end, an offensive lineman, and their star defensive end is most likely not going to play because he'll probably be preparing for the NFL draft. He'll be a top pick. To make matters worse, they lost their defensive coordinator and their quarterback coach. And UCLA ended the season terribly, losing 3 of their last 4, both straight up and against the spread, falling 33-7 to Cal in their last game. Cal has a terrible defense, so that's pretty telling of where this team's mindset is at this point. I spoke last week on this show about how Spencer Danielson had officially applied to be the Boise State head coach. Well, they gave him the job. By all indications, the players love playing for him, and they do not expect many guys to be transferring out. The Broncos played their best football to end the year, winning 4 straight, both straight up in ATS, including their blowout victory to win the Mountain West Championship 44-20. They scored in the 40s in 3 of those games, and as an underdog are absolutely live to win the Starco Brands LA Bowl. Give me Boise State.
So my clients and I have cashed back-to-back winners with Boise State over the last 3 weeks when the coaching change was announced, and I read the quotes about Danielson, that how excited they were to play for this guy. We went big ticket, and I probably should have gone big ticket again on Saturday, but I just took him as a 3-star instead. It didn't grade out that well against UNLV. But when this matchup came out, I was worried for Boise. It wasn't an auto bet for me to take Boise because I was worried about the Broncos' defense. The defense is pretty good. Their offense is hit or miss. UCLA's got a really good defense when they come to play. Can Boise move the football against UCLA? Because that's my biggest concern here. I'm not convinced they can.
Yeah, so this is a play I thought you'd like, Teddy, just because, yes, UCLA has a fantastic defense. They've been great at stopping the run all year long, but the turmoil that they're in right now and the possibility that a lot of these guys may not play. I talked about their best defensive player probably not going to be on the field. Now, this is not confirmed yet, but as soon as all these players transfer out, you're going to lose all line value and the line's going to move. So I'm doing a little bit of guesswork here, but the UCLA program is in terrible shape. Chip Kelly's holding on to his job somehow. Half the offense is gone. don't be surprised if a lot of defensive players start transferring out as well. So I'm trying to get ahead of the curve here. And so to answer your question, in this game, yes, they will be able to move on UCLA given the current state of the program.
Jimmy frickin' Adams. You're getting a lot of love in the chat room, Jimmy. People are calling you some kind of goat. Don't know what kind, but
I can't see the chats, guys, but thank you so much.
What do you got to promote, brother?
So passed on college basketball today. It was a short card, but Prez mentioned it. We are up 63 units since November 2nd. 5-1 NFL run, 15-4 college football run. College hoops has been great all season long. I'll be firing college basketball plays off all week. We'll have another NFL week lined up for you. Grabbing all access, and let's make some money. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Jimmy. Teddy, man, 2 orders just came in at Wager Merch. Robert, thank you. Can't see. And Jonathan, thank you, guys. That's awesome. They ordered, one ordered Poker Dad. The other ordered one of my favorites. I don't even fold my own laundry. That's a great quote for a poker shirt. No, yes, medium.
Sure.
I would say I came up with it, but I was at a poker table and a guy was wearing a shirt that said that. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to steal that slogan and throw it up on Wager Merch. Check out wagermerch.com, everybody. Christmas is coming and there's lots of great present opportunities there. Brother, we got a hard stop. 13 minutes left in the show. Your big game breakdown, Andrew McInnis, and of course, the daily presidential address. The mic's all yours.
Let's do it. Big game breakdown. Let's take an early look at Thursday night football. The Steelers and the Patriots. And we've got, in my mind, bet on versus bet against in this ballgame. I want the Steelers off a crappy game like the one they played yesterday. And again, weather delayed. They were unfocused from the get-go. It wasn't a pretty performance against Arizona on Sunday. Mike Tomlin's squad off a loss. Let's see. So far this year, 4-0 straight up, 4-0 ATS off a loss. Dating back to last year, Pittsburgh 7-0 straight up, 7-0 ATS in their next game following a straight up defeat. That is what I would consider to be a proven track record in games like this one. And we talk about the matchups on the field. The Steelers have a good defense. All right, they really do. New England, can we call it an anemic attack? It's worse than anemic right now. All right, they've been held to 7 points or less in more than half of their games since the beginning of October. And there's no answers anywhere on the horizon for the Patriots. Deficiency at quarterback is going to be there. Okay, Malik Cunningham, who's been on the practice squad, is not the answer. Okay, neither was Bailey Zappi, and neither was, it's on and on for the Patriots when it comes to the quarterback position. The defense has held each of their last 3 opponents 10 points or less, and they've lost all 3 games. You know when the last time that happened? 1938. Okay, that's where they are offensively. So it's a Patriots team. It's not just the quarterback. The offensive line is a problem. The receiving core is a problem. The running back core is banged up. They're not going to score points against Pittsburgh. It's like Iowa against Michigan. So whether it's Trubisky or Pickett behind center for the Steelers, I'm going to expect in a short week for an exhausted Patriots defense to be somewhat problematic for Belichick and company. Lay it or don't play it. Give me the Steelers minus the 6. Lawrence?
Teddy, listen, I don't remember a 30.5. I'm sure it's happened. How do you not bet this game? How do you not bet under here? I mean, where are the points coming from? If you got to get at least 4 touchdowns for this game to go over 30.5, where are 4 touchdowns coming from?
Offense, defense, or special teams?
Deep thoughts from Teddy Covers. No, seriously. How do you not bet the under here?
Because the total's 30.5.
And what do we say?
They priced me out of it.
So let's say the Jets total yesterday was 30.5. Let's say the LA Chargers total yesterday was 30.5. Would you have taken them? Under?
I didn't take either one under. Did you?
No. I did give the Jets out under as a free pick, which still counts. But yeah, this game's going under. Andrew McInnis joining us, everyone. Andrew, I had the pleasure of doing Puck Time with you today. Now we're doing a repeat. Welcome to WagerTalk Today, man.
It was a good show. It was a good time. Good to be here, guys. And man, I got to say, how about that Patriots team? Like where I live, there's no professional NFL team, obviously, but it's the closest team to us is the Patriots. So many bandwagon friends I have and bandwagon people. I love their misery right now. It's good to see, honestly, after so many great years for them.
That's great. I don't love anyone's misery. Andrew McInnis joining us. Let's start with the Monday Night Football game. You've got a prop bet for us, and then we'll get into your NHL.
Yeah, so it worries me because Jimmy Adams has had such a great run across all sports, and he comes on saying how they need to get Mixon involved. They need to get the run game going and established. Well, the good news is needing to do something and being able to do something can be two different things. And I like his underplay, but I don't think it's an under because Joe Mixon goes over his yards and they run the ball a ton. I'm going under 46.5 rushing yards for Joe Mixon. Obviously, he talked about it. The Jags fourth in the league in their rushing defense. But one stat I've looked at quite a bit is time of possession. Because you can really tell, how much time does a team have to run their plays? How quick are their drives? And Cincy, they rank 18th on the season in time of possession and 15th worst over their last 3 games. Obviously, under a new quarterback with Jake Browning, they're going to have to run the ball. But once that does not work and they find themselves down 10 or more points, they're going to have to throw the ball. I actually think I would look towards Browning on his rushing yards over more than I would look towards Mixon. I think that Mixon's a better option as far as his receiving here. Jags being number 6 in time of possession means that their drives take a long time. They take a long time to march the field. Trevor Lawrence goes over his pass completions quite often. And they have some guys that they hit deep, but really, they don't really throw that many deep balls. They're kind of a dump it off type of team, dink and dunk, 10, 15 yarders. I just don't see a position the Bengals can be in where they're just dumping it off to Mixon, letting him get the things going. And last week's a good example. He had 8 attempts for 16 yards, guys. So is it worth it for the Bengals to hand the ball off to him, for him to run into his offensive line and get, a couple of yards per carry? They're going to be down in this game. The Jags are playing very well right now. When they win games, they're covering point spreads. I expect the Bengals to be down in this game and the run game not to really be on their mind. They're going to have to throw the ball. So under for Joe Mixon for me.
So, since he last week, handed the ball off a couple of times, we're like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. And the quotes after the game were, we stopped doing it because there was no chance with the running game. That's been the exception for Cincinnati this year, not the rule. Certainly, when you talk about designing a game plan for Jake Browning to have success, running the football has to be a big part of it. Are you worried at all that last week was kind of an anomaly when it comes to Cincinnati's desire to run the football, and this week they'll come with a little bit of a better game plan?
You hear it a lot, right? Inexperienced quarterbacks, get the ball out of his hands, make him not have to make those big plays, get the run game going. And as I kind of briefly mentioned, Teddy, what I would look towards more as far as Joe Mixon would be his receiving numbers. Nothing worse when you have an over on a rushing yard for a running back when they catch a 2-yard toss more often than they're actually running the ball, right? And I think that the game script, sure, they'd love to run the ball, but if they find themselves down double digits, is the run game really going to be what they're looking to do? And that's kind of the way I'm looking here. If this game was, to me, expected to be a tight game, and I thought that the Bengals had a chance to win it, maybe I would say in the script, yeah, sure, if they want to look towards Mixon. It is a low number. I just don't see him being a big impact tonight, so I'm looking towards the under. And as you and Jimmy just talked about, I'm not going to be the guy that comes on here and gives out a bunch of overs on props on a primetime game. I'm just not going to be. I'm not going to expect a lot of big plays. As of right now, my bets on unders on primetime have had a lot more success, so I'll keep doing that.
Andrew McInnis. Kelly Vincenzo writes, anyone like team total 24, Jacksonville over 24? I do. Andrew, you've got a hockey bet for us. What is it?
I'm looking at the Arizona Coyotes tonight. And, I can't believe I'm saying that. This is a Coyotes team that was so bad for so many years, guys, that I feel like people have not realized that they've improved. And when they're scoring in bunches. 4 of their last 5 wins, they've scored at least 4 goals. Washington is a team right now. You look at their goal differential, you look at expected goals, they're in the bottom half of the league. They are overachieving on all analytical numbers. They have not really been a team that I think I want to bet on moving forward. I have them listed as a sell team. And this is one of those things where, just like you look at in baseball where you can list a pitcher, I wish you could list a goaltender in hockey. I think that Darcy Kemper is a huge drop-off right now from Charlie Lindgren. And he has not played very well this year, giving up a ton of rebounds, a ton of second chances. And I like the depth of this Coyotes team. They don't really have that one superstar, but they have many guys that will hurt you. The Capitals are off that game against the Vegas Golden Knights where they gave up 5 goals. I expect that to continue. When you have a team overachieving defensively despite giving up so many chances and that finally breaks, well, you probably want to bet against them moving forward. So give me the Coyotes here on the money line. And I have to ask you guys this. Do you think we'll ever get an opportunity to list a goaltender? With how mainstream betting is getting, shouldn't that be the same as listing a pitcher? It's the same thing, I think.
Okay, Andrew, the answer is no. We can't get into this conversation. Teddy, you got something you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to know what you have to promote, Andrew. First of all, let's talk about that $199 end of the year special. No promo code needed. Get every play every day from the capper of your choice for $199, which is a good deal. And if you buy it today, you save more than if you buy it tomorrow. What else do you have to promote, Mr. McInnis?
Totals. Totals have been the name of the game for me right now, Teddy, across NFL, across NHL, and college basketball. I'm really pretty much staying away from side plays, but when I do find one, those are going pretty well as well. But I'm on a 9-2 NHL totals run off a winning day yesterday in the NFL. And please check us out over at Prop It Up. Myself and Andy Lang getting a ton of viewership there on our Prop It Up show, especially on the standalone games on Mondays. Check that out. But huge run right now in the NHL. Props are going well in the NFL. I have a 2-pack up as far as the NFL prop market is concerned. And yes, one of them is the Joe Mixon under, guys. Have a great night.
Andrew McInnis, outstanding. Teddy, what do you got going for the clients tonight?
I have a play on Monday Night Football for tonight. I also have a 5% big ticket play for tomorrow in the NBA in-season tournament action. That's posted already right now over at WagerTalk.com. And, of course, the NBA 5% big tickets, 26-8, dating back to 2021. They've been highly profitable for those who've gotten on board.
There we go, everybody. We got well over 125 likes. I've got 2 NHL bets and 1 NFL bet. Daniel's son, cue up the music in my head for the daily presidential address. Welcome, everybody, to the daily presidential address. I'm Lawrence Pressman, co-founder of WagerTalk, and I've got 2 hockey bets for you, and I've got an NFL bet for you on tonight's game. Before we get into that, I want to tell you all I'm going for 10 college basketball wins in a row today. That is right. I'm on a 9-0 and 15-1 college basketball run. I have 1 bet in college basketball tonight. I'm up profit in NBA. I got an NBA bet for tonight. And I have a rare 4% NHL total. I am 8-3 on the season in these plays. I'm rolling, guys. Like, I'm telling you, this is a run of runs that is going on with me. And I'm so glad so many of you guys grabbed that all access on Thursday and Friday and enjoyed the last 4 or 5 days with me. Okay, NFL tonight. I'm 4-0 in the circa. My 5th play is Jacksonville. I know the line has moved from 8.5 to 10. I still think Jacksonville is the right bet. I also like the over in the Tampa Bay Dallas hockey game and the under in the Vegas St. Louis game. We will see you tomorrow. It will be my last show for the week. Teddy covers. take us home.
Sure. That's going to wrap it for the Monday edition of Wager Talk Today. Stay tuned right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel for the NFL opening line report. Myself and Drew Martin breaking down Week 14, 15 minutes from now, 10 a.m. here on the left coast, 1 p.m. Eastern. Lawrence and I will be back tomorrow with another edition of Wager Talk Today, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern time. Between now and then, enjoy the games and best of luck with all your wagers.